So now in this part, we're going to talk about the question and hypothesis, okay? So what was the hypothesis?
Hypothesis is when you take a guess of something. So I think this pen is more easier to find than this pen.
Very good. So when you make a hypothesis, you are making a smart guess, okay? Or a meaningful guess, okay? So this means that you're not just gonna guess anything, right? So if I'm trying to see what kind of dinosaur this fossil is, I'm not going to say a dog, right?
Yeah.
Or a cat. So it has to be a guess that you really take all the information you can get and you look at all the information, and after you research and you read and you know, get a little bit, as much information as you can, you make a guess, okay? So that's the most important part of a hypothesis.
Like, I think this is more like a, carnivore, because their teeth is quite sharp.
Super sharp, yeah, look at that. All right. So do you ask why questions when you are curious about things? The work of scientists often start with an unanswered question. Scientists then suggest a possible answer that can be tested with an experiment. This is known as forming a hypothesis. A good hypothesis must, first, be placed on what you observe. Second, be testable by doing an experiment. And third, be useful in predicting new findings. Which of these dinosaurs was a meat eater and which was a plant eater? Form a hypothesis to answer this question. Okay, so let's see what the other dinosaurs are talking about. Okay, perfect. So, go ahead and read this first, Alita, and then we'll kind of talk about this.
Do you ask why question when you are curious about things? The work of a scientist often starts with an unanswered question. Scientists then suggest. What's that word? I don't know what it is.
Suggest.
Suggest.
Suggest. When you suggest something, you're giving like when you recommend something, like, I think you should do this, or this is, this could be the answer.
Okay, so this pen, I think it's more heavier than this pen, and this could be the answer, because look at the size of it, and this is, don't look at the size of it, but this is a Apple pen and they have magnets, and magnet is pretty heavy.
Yeah. So when you suggest something, you're just giving your opinion about something, and you suggest someone to do something or to believe something, or
So suggest a problem answer that can be tested with an experiment. This is known as forming a hypothesis. A good hypothesis must first be based on what you observe. Second, be testable by doing an experiment. And be useful predicting new things. Which of these dinosaurs was a meat eater and which was a plant eater? Form a hypothesis to answer this question.
Okay, so we'll do that in a bit, but first I want to talk about these 3 important things about a hypothesis. Okay, so we already know a hypothesis is a guess, right? So when you make a hypothesis, you need to ask yourself if you're doing these 3 things. And if you are, then that means your hypothesis, is okay, and you can continue on with the next step. So a hypothesis has to be based on what you observe. Okay, so if I'm looking at, for example, if I'm looking at this stuffed animal, my question has to be about this. Okay, so I can't be observing this and asking a question about my phone.
Okay.
Right? That doesn't
So
make
that
sense.
will be weird and odd.
Yeah, that just wouldn't work at all. So my hypothesis is that, or actually my hypothesis needs to be about what I observe. So I'm observing this little creature thing, okay?
Okay.
So, be testable by doing an experiment. Okay. So I have to make sure that the question that I ask about this thing, I don't even know what it is.
It's
About-
a candle.
Okay,
I think it's a hamster.
Yeah, I think so too. Probably. Okay, so I need to make sure that what I'm asking about this hamster can be answered by doing an experiment, right? So if I ask myself, in what country was this hamster made? I can make a guess, right? But how could I test that? How could I experiment that?
So you can like just see the label from it. Those things have, you know, a label and they say like made from, you know, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Maybe cut it off.
I think. Is this Chinese?
My mom can't read it, so perhaps this.
I don't know. Okay. So, yeah, that's one thing you could do. You could look at the label, right? So kind of look to see if you can